Part 4 of fixing up the cheapest BMW 5 Series in the country. So what have we done so far with this car then? We have fixed the original issue, which was an issue that caused the car to sometimes crank, sometimes not, sometimes fire up and sometimes not. That was just a case of swapping out a DDE relay. I have a separate video of me showing that. We have fixed a few things in terms of the bodywork on this car. A few panels were just not clipped in as they should be. We then took care of a couple of mechanical jobs. So we swapped out the rear brake discs and pads. We also had to swap out the front springs as well because one of them failed prematurely on us. We then gave this thing an entire service, so we swapped out all of the filters, all of the fluids, and that was in the previous video. And I also took this thing for an MOT as well, which if you watch the previous video you'll know that it failed its MOT not once but twice. So first of all, we had to swap out the front track rods and track rod ends. One of the track rod ends had failed, but I was just as well swapping out the entire assemblies on both sides. It also failed on one of the windscreen wipers, which was just a faulty, sorry, not a faulty, just a dirty windscreen wiper. And then we had to adjust the parking brake, which I thought I'd done the first time. Turns out I didn't. Thought I'd done the second time. That's when it then failed, and I had to take this thing for another MOT. Yes, I had to pay twice for its MOT, and then it finally passed. So yes, this thing now has a fresh 12 months of MOT on it. So what is the plan for this video? So it is continuing to get this car ready for sale. So we have a few body panels that we need to pay some close attention to. The tailgate, this is getting swapped out. As you know, it has rusted underneath here. It is quite a common problem, but I've managed to find a new one in the exact same colour that doesn't need any paint work, and it should be a whole lot better than this one as well. Not only does it have that rust, paint has flaked off there, and it has a pretty nasty gash right there. So this is going to need paint if I was to save this, and obviously it's going to be a few £100. Managed to find a new replacement tailgate for just £100, so no brainer really with that. Of course I'll have to swap over the lock, I'll have to swap over the number plate, and then I don't know if the new one came with number plate lights, but I'll obviously have to swap over them as well. So that's the tailgate then. Also plan on actually repairing and painting the side skirt. As you can see, it's a bit scuffed up. I have already gave this a quick sanding down just to see how bad it was, and to be honest, it isn't actually that bad. There is a few spots that will require a little bit of filler, but for the most part this side skirt is still good to go again. And yes, I am going to attempt to paint this myself. So is it going to turn out good? I'm sure we'll find out. Another area that I want to give some close attention to is the wing mirrors. Now you may think I'm going a little bit too far in, you know, refurbishing these, but I notice the paint is coming off there. With these wing mirrors being aluminium, it just corrodes like mad. Water sits in here, and yeah, the paint just flakes off. So I'm going to take these off, disassemble them, clean them up, and then give them a fresh coat of matte black paint. Pretty much the same story for the other side as well. And then after all those jobs, we have just a couple small little jobs as well. What they are yet, I really don't know, but anything that I can see needs doing, we will of course attend to it and hopefully get this project wrapped up. I remember what one of those smaller jobs was. That was to install a rear tow eye cover. This was missing ever since I bought the car. Now when it comes to this, I just bought a unpainted, it was primered but unpainted. I just painted it myself in our case space grey. It came out quite nice. Had a couple of coats of lacquer as well. Pleased with the finish on it. Now it's going to look terrible because the car is filthy, and this is of course clean, but I guess once the car's been cleaned it'll match a lot better. But I can only see it goes in one way. Like that, I guess. Probably the easiest fix we'll be doing today. Another one of those small jobs was to replace the faulty parking sensor on the front bumper. I can't remember which one was faulty. Is either this one or this one. It either said front right center or front left center, something like that. So I'm just going to swap this one out anyway, see if that fixes the issue. If not, then it's obviously that one. So yeah, with the grills removed, I should be able to wiggle this out. I believe I've done it before. So as you can see, this is the original one. It does have a date of 2007 on. This is actually a brand new sensor. It's not a genuine BMW one, it is an aftermarket one, but they all seem to work the same. As you can see, they look the exact same, just in the same with this one as well. Came primered, but just gave it a couple of coats of space grey and then a couple of coats of lacquer as well. So yeah, let's get this one installed. Moment of truth. I think we are all good, you know. Before, the PDC button down there would just flash, and we wouldn't really have anything on the display there, but yeah, I went around, checked all the sensors, seem to be beeping as they should. So I think that's the parking sensors fixed. Just going to put this back into its slot, get the grills reinstalled, get these 5 Torx 30 bolts reinstalled, and that's that job done. So then, I have been busy, just been stripping down the tailgate or boot lid, whatever you want to call it, ready for removal. Yep, pretty much everything is off this now. Of course, number plate, the lock. Of course, you need to transfer that over onto the new one, so the physical keyblade will work in it. Remove this, just held in by a bunch of these plastic push rivet type things. And of course, you have to remove the emergency toolkit, and I have unclipped all of the wiring as well. Of course, there is the wiring for the number plate lights, there's the wiring for the switch, and there is also the wiring for the catch as well. So this is pretty much everything that I have removed. Didn't need to remove this, of course, but you know, this will probably be kept as spares just in case the one on the replacement one fails. But yeah, remove the number plate lights. This is the lock here, has this plate over the top of it, and then of course number plate, took the old original badge off as well, and then this is the tailgate button to release it. Probably used the one on the tailgate, the replacement tailgate already though, because this one is, yeah, it's started to rust. So yeah, probably just go in the bin, that one. And here we go then, new tailgate in place. This one is in much better condition. The old one had a bit of a nasty gash down that side. This one does have some light scratches, which is to be expected, but I think majority of these will just polish out. But I may need to make some slight adjustments. Of course, we have the bolts here, the 4 Torx bolts, 2 on each side. You can slightly adjust them to make sure all of the Gaps are nice and even. They're not looking too bad at the moment, but yeah, I'll play around with it in a bit once I have everything back together to try and make it spot on. I need to get the catcher installed, I need to get that wired up, and I need to get our original lock installed as well, and then I can close it properly and see how we're looking. Okay then, so some time has definitely elapsed since you last saw me working on this thing. So long story short, the tailgate is now complete. That's swapped over. All of the trim pieces are now back on. Of course, the lock mechanism, you saw me swapping that over, that's all done as well. That's the tailgate done then. Now I am working on the side skirts and also the mirrors. As I mentioned, I do want to paint both of the mirrors. I'll just kind of show you where we're at. So the side skirt then, this is how we are looking. I have gave the entire thing a good sand down, so it's pretty much ready for paint. As you can see, I have applied some filler just to the damaged areas. To be honest, when I gave it a good sand down, there really wasn't a lot of damage on this thing, just a couple of tiny low spots where there's a few scratches. So yeah, once this filler goes off, I can then of course give it a good final sand and we can begin getting this thing in primer. For those that are wondering which filler I've used, it is this big boy plastic flexi filler. It's supposed to be good for plastic. Of course the side skirts are plastic, so should do the job quite nicely. And with regards to the wing mirrors, this is kind of where we're at. So I have completely stripped one of them down, you know, taken the cover off, taken the glass out and everything, and now I'm just beginning to prep the black area basically. As you can see, it's all corroded, so I'm going to take it down to the bare metal where it is corroded. And then yeah, as I mentioned, we'll give this a few coats of primer. I mean, get it coated in some matte black, which should match the car quite nicely. As you can see, this is the trim that's on the car, the window trim, and this is the wing mirror. You can't really tell on camera, but this has faded anyway, so it's like a completely different colour. So once this is painted, it's going to be a hell of a lot better than, you know, what it's like at the moment. But yeah, I would just like to apologise for the amount of time that has elapsed, you know, with regards to getting this car done. Went away, went to Scotland for 2 weeks, then I went to Europe for like 3 weeks. So yeah, I really haven't been here a whole lot to get this done. But yeah, I have a couple of days now where I really just need to knuckle down, get this thing done, and then as I mentioned, it's pretty much ready for sale then. Of course, it will need a good clean. I plan on doing a full interior deep clean. I'll take all the seats out and all the rest of it, give them a good clean up, and I'll yeah, give the car a good clean and a bit of a polish as well to try and get some of the minor scrapes and scratches out. But for now though, let's crack on. Let's try and get things moving forward. But before we do that, let me just show you something that I've been sent out real quick. So this is, of course, a poster, and I absolutely love this. If you guys know me, you'll know that I love the BMW E60 M5. It's one of my ultimate dream cars. It's one of those cars that I hope to own at some point in the future. Now, if you guys know about the BMW E60 M5, you'll know that it's kind of inspired from the V10 BMW powered F1 car at the time. So it kind of has some text here at the bottom, basically kind of explains the similarities between the two. The F1 car being the tree, the E60 M5 being the Acorn. I love this poster. I cannot wait to get it up in my office. If you guys want one of these, there will be a link down in the description box below. So cool. If you are into your BMWs, you have to have one of these, especially if you are a lover of the BMW E60 M5. It's also worth noting that they have a whole range of different sizes, and they also ship worldwide as well. So yeah, feel free, check the link in the description and grab yourself one of these posters. Okay then, so things have progressed. As you can see, we now have colour. This is one of the mirror caps, of course. This is what the side skirt looks like. From this far, probably looks pretty good, right? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know if I would do this again. This has taken a whole lot of time, effort, patience, back and forth, sanding, filling. Yeah, it's taken a lot of work to do this, and by no means is it perfect. It's definitely not. Will it look a whole hell of a lot better than it did before? Yes, of course it will. But yeah, it's definitely not perfect. The finish on it, after I have applied some lacquer, a good 2 coats of lacquer as well, is still very rough. So I think this needs a massive wet sand, and yeah, a very good polish to hopefully, you know, bring that to the sort of level that the car is at. But yeah, that's a side skirt anyway. We have things like the wing mirror is well, that's definitely dry now. That's been there for a good few hours, but as you can see, this is the black, the matte black that I was talking about. It should go with the car quite nicely. Actually have a wing mirror fully done and all reassembled here. Again, not perfect, but looks a hell of a lot better than it did before. I wasn't going to paint the mirror caps, but I thought as I'm doing the rest, it, you know, just makes sense to do them as well. So yeah, I guess what we'll do is we will finish assembling both of the wing mirrors, get them back on the car, get the side skirt back on the car, then we can kind of see how we're looking. Okay then, so I think we're now done. As you can see, side skirt is back on. Both of the wing mirrors are now fully built up and back in place. Looks so much better compared to how they did. Remember before, it was all corroded underneath. Like I said, very common problem. I'm glad that I did decide to paint the wing mirror caps as well. I just think that you know, finishes it off brilliantly. They do need a good flat and a polish. There they are. I'll touch on the dual side, so I will get on to doing that. I'll also at the same time give the side skirt a good flat and polish, because again, it's yeah, a touch on the dual side, but I think that should come up quite nicely. As I mentioned a few times, this is definitely not perfect. You know, you will see minor imperfections if you get up close to it, but you know, as I mentioned many times, it's a 16-year-old car. It does have the odd scrape, the odd scratch here and there, so there's no point trying to get it exactly perfect, because if that panel is perfect, it's only just going to stand out amongst panels that are not perfect. So yeah, I went as far as I wanted to go with it, but yeah, really wasn't much point going any further. But I think you will all agree it looks a hell of a lot better than it did before. So I think we kind of need to go through a rundown of what we've actually done in this video. Like I said, it's been recorded over a good month or two now, so I think we need to wrap up what we have done. So we have replaced the tailgate. As I mentioned before, the old one was very badly scuffed, especially here, and the main reason actually is because of the rust. This one is rust free, I'm pleased to say. So yeah, this one is in a lot better condition. Of course, comes complete with the genuine BMW spoiler, as the old one did. What else have we done? We have replaced one of the parking sensors. I cannot remember which one it even was. Either this one or that one. Yeah, we've replaced that. Parking sensors now work perfectly. Oh, we installed the towing eye cover on the rear. There we are again, that finished off the rear bumper nicely. And of course we have completely stripped down both of the wing mirrors, given them a good few coats of paint and lacquer, and of course the same with the side skirt as well. Now I think what is in order is to give this car a good thorough deep clean, both on the exterior because it is filthy now after sitting for a good couple of months, and a good polish as well. I definitely want to give these headlights a good polish up, and yeah, various different panels on the car they could do with a good polish. I think the interior could definitely do with a good deep clean. I'll take all the seats out, give them all a good wet vac. They should come up near perfect then. Done it in numerous cars before, and yeah, they tend to come up, like I said, like perfect. But yeah, once that is all done, the car should then be complete. There we go then, cheapest BMW 5 Series in the country, done. It does literally just need a good clean and polish, and an interior clean as well. I'm not going to make another video of me doing that. You guys have seen me do that way too much on the channel, so I'm going to leave this one here. Hopefully you've all enjoyed me working on this car. No idea what is to come next in the Trading Up series, but I'm going to try and make it something special. Hopefully you've all enjoyed this video. Please remember to give this one a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you have not already done so, and we'll see you all in the next one.